Howdy gang. In today's episode of Pool School, I'm going to talk to you about the Quick-Skim feature that's on some pools. So let's get going. Okay, before we dive into this subject on Quick-Skims, I want to thank you all for watching and also remind you to like this video if you do. Subscribe to this channel if you've not done so already, and please share this channel with your friends who own pools who are either looking to service their pool themselves and save some money, or just want to educate themselves so they know what their pool maintenance person is talking about when they talk to them about their pool. Anyway, let's go on back and talk about the Quick-Skim, and I'll tell you a little bit about how it works, how it's theoretically supposed to work, and my opinion on the actual feature. All right, see you back there. Okay, so I am at one of my clients' pools, and this pool has a Quick-Skim skimmer feature. One thing to keep in mind, I have seen Quick-Skim features on both pop-up systems or in-floor cleaning systems like this one, and I've seen them on vacuum systems as well, but they're more common on the pop-up systems, and I'll kind of explain to you as we go. But if you notice the skimmer opening over there, I've got the skimmer lid off, you'll see right there below it is a hole, okay? That is part of the Quick-Skim feature, okay? Because the water is going to flow from inside that skimmer sump out into the pool through that, okay? So I'm going to walk over to the skimmer and you can see the insides, okay? So if you look down inside in here, there's some branches in there, but you see those two pipes on the bottom that are kind of, right, one there and one there, okay? This side here is coming from the filter, so it's clean water, and it's flowing this way through that space and through that hole, which then goes through the hole on the side of the wall into the pool, okay? Theoretically, what a Quick-Skim is supposed to do is, by that water flowing rapidly through, see that little nozzle right there on the end? You can see there's a little nozzle. There's a little end cap there that makes that water move faster. It creates a downward suction. So theoretically, it allows the suction on the skimmer to be greater without having to increase the suction on the skimmer itself. I hope that makes sense. So as water flows through there, it creates a downward pull and pulls water down into it without having to increase the actual suction from one of those hoses down there. And if you've seen my video on identifying the suction side of your skimmer, you know what I'm talking about, okay? One of those holes down there, one of those big holes, is for the skimmer, and the other one is like, I believe, sometimes it's capped, there's nothing to it. Other times it goes to the floor drain. Anyway, so that's the theory on how that works. Again, it's to help reduce the amount of suction you need on the actual skimmer so that your floor drains, especially if you have your pop-up system, will actually pull debris and you can dedicate more suction to them. That's the theory, all right? Now, before I go on and talk about the pros and cons of this, let's go over but pay attention to those two pipes. Again, that one and that one there. Pay attention to those because I'm going to talk about those in a moment. So let's go over to the equipment and see the adjustment for the Quick-Skim. Ready. I am at my equipment for this pool, and you'll notice this is the suction side of the pool. It's coming up through here. Actually, it comes up through here and here, through the leaf vac, up through here. So it goes down and out through here, back up. And it's going, this is still suction side, goes into the filter, and now it's return side coming out the bottom through this pipe, and here are all my return valves, okay? This is for the cleaning system. Obviously it's a pop-up in-floor cleaning system. This is for the aerator. More on those in another video. This is for the deck chlor, and it normally had a valve like this, but this is an erosion style chlorinator that goes in the pool, and I've had a video on that already, I believe. But if not, I will try to do one on that. But this is the Quick-Skim valve, the Quick-Skim feature. Now I have it off because I don't use it, and obviously that's giving you an indicator of what I think of the Quick-Skim system. But the idea is, I'm gonna actually fire this up, getting it a little loud. By the way, you hear that little squealing? That's an indicator that that bearing's probably starting to get a little bit rough, and it might be time to replace it eventually. I'm going to go ahead and open this Quick-Skim, if I can. and get the return flow going to the Quick-Skim. Okay, now let's go back to the pool. Remember, the water is flowing down the return side through the Quick-Skim and anything else, and the cleaning system, because that valve's open too, or that's wide open, and that's going to create a flow of water once the pump primes through the Quick-Skim. Now you've noticed in there, you can see it blowing some air? That's because it's purging air out of the system, but that gives you actually a good indicator, an idea of how that water flows through there, and it's supposedly creating a greater downward suction. And you notice there's flow going out through there. See these bubbles right here? That's water flow going out, okay? Because that's really important to understand, all right? So that's the theory, and there's your suction. You can see the little swirling vortex there. And that's the principle behind the Quick-Skim, okay? Now, a couple things to consider. Number one, remember what I said. The Quick-Skim feature was usually added to pools that have pop-up systems so that it allows you to create greater suction on the skimmer without dedicating any more suction to the skimmer, so that you can dedicate it to the floor drains to help suck debris out, right? But remember, it has to work on some kind of flow, so this is working on the return flow. The Quick-Skim works on the return flow to the pool. Here's the problem. This is your in-floor cleaning system distribution center. So what else works on the return flow part of the system is the pop-ups. So when you dedicate more water, return flow water, to the Quick-Skim, you're reducing the water flow to your pop-up heads, which is going to reduce the water pressure in those pop-up heads and cause them to be less efficient, if not work at all. So that's one of the cons about it. I'm really not a fan of the Quick-Skim. You can tell that's why I had the valve off, okay? Another reason why I'm not a fan of it, again, is theoretically that flow going this way and into the pool is theoretically supposed to create a greater downward suction. And you can see there is a swirling downward suction, okay? Here's the problem. That hole down there that I talked about, that's right below the skimmer opening, creates flow that is flowing out of that hole into the pool, which is creating a flow pushing water away from the skimmer. Guess what that means? Your water flow sometimes will be pushing the debris and the flow of the water away from the opening of the skimmer. So it's somewhat self-defeating. You have two contradicting things happening, and so you've got water blowing the debris away from that opening, and you're also trying to create suction to the opening through that same water flowing away. So it's somewhat counterproductive and contradictory, in my opinion. So I'm coming back to my system. I'm going to shut it off because it's easier to open and close valves that way. And like I said, I'm not a fan of the Quick-Skim, so I keep it shut off. And you make sure there's enough suction to the skimmer and enough suction to the floor drains, and just let it work that way. And it's been my experience that most of the systems work better without the Quick-Skim working at all. And again, that's my opinion. Maybe some of you have had a different experience. One other thing. Here's another negative about these. Those two pipes right there. If you've seen my video on converting your pop-up system to a vacuum using the VacMate, if you haven't, I'll put a link below the description of this video so you can watch it. But the VacMate skimmer has to sit down inside there. The problem is those two pipes stick up high enough that the VacMate can't seat all the way down into it the way it's supposed to. So those get in the way. So if you notice this one here, it's threaded. You can actually unscrew that head, but you still have an end like this and an end like the other one. And sometimes those get in the way. If you look really close, there's an inner rim right there. And that inner rim is what that VacMate sits on. And you notice that end, and even if you took this off, that piece right there are in the way of that rim. So guess what? It doesn't fit in there. So you've got a problem. So you either have to break that out or you have to figure out another way. So those are a lot of cons to the system, which is why I'm not a fan of the Quick-Skim. So folks, that's my take on the Quick-Skim and my quick lesson on it. Again, really quickly to reiterate, I'm not a fan of them. They usually come, if it's a pool that's equipped with a Quick-Skim, it's usually a pool that has a pop-up or in-floor cleaning system. I have seen it rarely on vacuum systems, but the theory behind it is a good theory, but in practice it just doesn't work in my opinion. Again, pros, you notice I didn't list any pros because I don't think there really are any when the thing's really actually functioning. My opinion is shut your your Quick-Skim off, dedicate most of your returns to your pop-ups and your regular returns, and you'll be in better shape. So again, that's my take on the Quick-Skim feature of a pool. I'm not a fan. I don't think they work the way they theoretically were supposed to, and again, I think they're not worth what you have. Now, if you do have one, at least in this video you know how to adjust it, right? So you do know how to adjust it, and you know how to adjust suction and all that. So I hope this all makes sense. Some of you may have had a different experience. If you have a better experience with a Quick-Skim, that's great, good for you. I'm glad it's working good for you, okay? But that's my take on it. I hope it made sense. I hope it answered some questions for some people who have asked me about a Quick-Skim and that feature and asked me, what is it? I want to thank you again for watching. I want to ask you again, if you have any questions or comments, you can always post them in the comment section below this video. And I'm happy to read all of them and respond if needed. And if you want to, you can also email me directly, and my email address is going to come across the bottom of the screen as always. It's kennypoolschool@gmail.com. Once again, kennypoolschool@gmail.com. I want to thank you again for watching. Remind you to like, subscribe, and share this channel with your friends. And remember to have fun, be safe, and always, always, always watch your kids around water. And I will see you next time.